Hello, Nina and I would like to welcome you to this presentation, which introduces and outlines the development of a site-specific performative artwork entitled Double Back. This short account of our working process is an attempt to explain, briefly, the decision-making that occurred during this artwork's creation. In reality, much of these decisions were made intuitively and were based upon previous experience and trust in the process. For us, the term "after that, this" suggests one thing or event occurring after another, in a sequence, perhaps a logical sequence of things, and it incidentally reminded us of the working method of Jasper Johns, an artist whose work helped to form a bridge between abstract expressionism and pop art. In one of his notebooks, dated 1963 to 64, Johns wrote, "Take an object, do something to it, do something else to it, repeat," suggesting that the creation and development of an artwork relies upon a process of adjustment and modification, and by extension also suggests that the creation and development of an artwork could be understood as an endless process. By that, I mean to say that each modification to a work sends out a ripple throughout the work of necessary adjustments that are needed to reach a formal or visual resolution, and with any subsequent modifications needing further rounds of adjustments to once again reach a resolution within the work. Unless the work is physically destroyed during this process, the process could theoretically continue endlessly. And rather than being finished, a work of art has actually reached a convenient or desirable resolution, and that state remains in place until part of the work is modified once more. The performative work that was created specially for this Congress was born out of an investigation into a variety of locations within Leeds. The location that was chosen, the Hawthorns, are a set of terraces built in the early 1900s in an area of North Leeds. The name of the terraces was taken from Hawthorne House, shown here on the map outlined in red, a Grade 2 listed building, still surviving but which is now divided into several apartments. The grounds of the house can also be seen on the map in the form of a small park containing trees and winding footpaths. As can be seen in the more recent photograph on the right, the grounds of the house and part of other surrounding land was built upon to create the Hawthorns area. The photo clearly shows how little land attached to the house still survives. Interestingly, the area still features one or two hawthorn trees, though, unfortunately, one was recently felled. To the east of the hawthorns is a long alleyway, here highlighted in yellow, connecting all the streets, and which features 8 metal bollards erected in pairs at intervals from top to bottom. The bollards were presumably erected to prevent the passage of vehicles, and the bollards' interesting arrow shape attracted us to study the area and led to the development of the performance. Our site-specific performance would be created in direct response to this alleyway. The placement of the metal bollards reminded us of string artworks which are constructed by winding string or yarn around nails or pins that have been driven into a flat surface. As the string is wound around the pins under tension, various shapes can be created. For the purposes of our performative work, we saw the strings as indicating pathways that can be followed or traced out on foot, and imagine the possibility of following this logic within the alleyway using the metal bollards as the nails around which to pivot. It was our aim to use choreographed movement to replace the strings in the previous artworks, winding around the bollards that stand in place of the nails. We trialled several choreographed pathways through the alleyway, eventually deciding upon the one at the centre of this page from one of our notebooks. This version seemed to us to incorporate movements such as pivoting and doubling back without being too complicated, and one from which the movement notation could easily be followed. At each of the bollards, it became clear to us that there should be a conscious pivoting, using the bollard as an axis around which to turn, especially when the pivoting turned the movement around 180 degrees, thereby creating the double back. In my head, as I walked, I imagined that the pathway of the string I was leading had been looped around the bollard, and I was following the momentum that propelled me up or down the alleyway. The choreography felt comfortable and natural as I walked, a positive physical response as the performance progressed. Here is the selected pathway again, showing the route that was chosen to be walked. The accompanying animation indicates the route that was followed during the walk. Each turn, approaching and pivoting around the metal bollards is clear to see. The movement in the animation here is obviously speeded up. In the actual performance, I walked at a more natural pace to allow for awareness of the local environment and consideration of the choreography to be followed. This slide contains a screen capture of the final performance video and the YouTube web link, which can be found on the YouTube channel that is also listed here. The performance lasts approximately 6 minutes. Other recorded performative work and related walking pieces can be found on this YouTube channel. It has been a pleasure for Nina and I to be able to contribute by presenting work at the Congress during the last few years, beginning in 2019, and we look forward eagerly to new developments in the future. Thank you.